real estate, as much as people talk about passive income, you have to do a lot of active work.
You do.
What's the big myth that people have getting involved in being a real estate investor?
You get rich real quick. It's a myth.
Why do you think our communities are much more better consumers than they are investors?
Because of the lack of reading. People believe that education stops after college. The thing about it is when you stop learning, really exercising the brain, you're very easy to take advantage of. Gabby, my oldest, said, "Dad, if God is so good, why do you take the microphone?" And I kind of stepped back. I said, "Baby, that's a phenomenal question."
Let's get this money. Yours dollar bills getting this on out. Let's get this money. 1 year in hand, better know I'm on it.
What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas. And once again, welcome to another episode of the 7-Figure Squad podcast. Joining me in the studio is my man, my friend here in Dallas, Texas, real estate extraordinaire investor, and Ladale Buggs. I appreciate you being a guest here on the 7-Figure Squad podcast, bro.
Thanks, man. The ice, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for inviting me on, big dog.
100%. We got a myriad of topics here. So we got people that owe more money today on their car loans. People are upside down, and what are they doing about it?
Yeah.
5 most overvalued housing markets in 2025. Chris Pratt. We're talking about this. Chris Pratt leans on faith after the LA fires. An interesting topic we're going to talk about right now is porn. It's not destroying necessarily men's lives. It's destroying women's lives. How?
Correct.
Stay tuned. Parents should never give this 2-word compliment to the kids, ever, according to this expert. Let us know in the show whether or not you agree. We're going to talk a little bit about tariffs and how potentially it might affect us in terms of how it's going to increase our cost of living potentially.
Sure.
And then we got a couple of videos here we're going to react to that we found on Twitter and Instagram. But before we jump into the topics, Ladale, let's talk about you right quick, man. So talk to me about your real estate endeavors here and how you've been building your real estate portfolio.
Man, when I was young, when I was 17 years old, my Uncle Gary introduced me to a term called passive income. And I said, "Uncle, what's that?" He said, "It's something that you do one time that you get paid over and over and over again." And I said, "Man, I want to learn how to do that." And so I began to kind of study business models that actually generate residual or passive income stuff on the real estate. And I noticed that people like Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft actually have, even though they own big NFL teams, they also had a big portfolio of real estate. And so I began just to acquire real estate. And so when I was in college, I bought my first property, made $3,500 in college. Man, you rich. So drinks was on me that day. The next deal was $10,000. Next deal was $26,000. Now I own about $35 million worth of real estate.
Out how much?
$35 million.
Good for you, brother.
My man.
Outstanding, man.
Sure.
I did a video. I did a video on passive income.
Yeah.
And if you guys have ever watched that video on passive income, because Ladale and I were talking about how you can make $1.5 million passive income in the insurance industry versus taking the same type of effort into the real estate business.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't watched that video, check out this video right here. But I think it was a very, very relevant video because the thing a lot of people get is, real estate, as much as people talk about passive income, you have to do a lot of active work.
You do.
What's the big myth that people have getting involved in being a real estate investor?
You get rich real quick.
It's a myth.
It's a myth. It takes time. Real estate is probably the most complex and most competitive business model that people don't know about. Typically, it takes a lot of capital, a lot of work. You have a lot of third parties you have to deal with: appraisers, title companies, realtors, mortgage brokers, bankers. There's a lot of people involved, and you have inspectors. There's a lot of people involved. So there's a lot of hands in the pot. There's a lot of fraud that goes on in real estate if you don't know what you're doing as well. Also, I tell everybody, if you want to get your ass handed to you, start investing in real estate.
I've always been intrigued with real estate personally for myself. Sure. When I was a single father coming out the Marines, I thought I was going to get involved in at least being a realtor. Sure. Right. And then I asked a $1 million question to the person who was recruiting me. I said, if I sell a life insurance policy versus me today having a real estate contract ready to go, when do I get a paycheck? Yeah. Kind of an important thing, right?
Yeah.
So the real estate guy said, the broker said, well, if you get you get the contract today and we have the financing ready to go, about 30, 35 days, clear to close. And then I asked the insurance guy, if I sell a policy today, when do I get a paycheck? He says, well, 7 days. So 7 days versus 30, 35 days. I'm like, let me dabble. And by the way, I did both.
Okay.
And so Matter of fact, I take that back. It wasn't selling a property. It was selling a mortgage. It was mortgages.
Okay.
I saw the mortgage. A mortgage. I had a 1003 mortgage application. Anyway, so I did both. So that same day, I closed a mortgage. It was in like a $90,000 streamline refinance.
Okay.
A lady that had a condo. Yeah. And then, because, cash flow, free up some cash on a monthly basis.
Sure.
And then I sold 4, 5, 6, 7 different policies. So I made just as much in that same 30 days than me refining. Matter of fact, the refi took longer than 35 days. It took 60 days.
Oh, wow.
A couple certifications that come in, inspections came in, and they didn't like it. So, so it took 60, not 45, 35 days. It took 60 days. So I even forgot about the mortgages.
Wow.
Until my broker comes, hey, come pick up your check. I'm like, oh, cool. But it was the same amount of money as I sold with life insurance. But for me, I mean, it's different for everybody.
Sure, it is.
But this is what you sent me when I do this video.
It was probably about
June 23.
Yeah,
2023. Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So you share with me, if I want to build $1.5 million of passive income net cash flow from real estate, this is the text you sent me.
Yeah. Wow.
625 properties.
Correct.
$100,000 condos. So assuming every property you purchase, $100,000 property, $75,000 loan amount, which means a 25% down payment.
Correct.
And I net cash for renting out those properties, $200 each.
Correct.
Okay. But in order for me to, let me just do the quick math here real quick. So if I have 625 properties times 25,000 each, right? Because I got right? That's $15.6 million I got to come up with.
That's correct.
So to me, I don't have those I was a broke kid coming out the Marines. So you've built your business by establishing relationships.
Right.
Last week, when Trump came in, he eliminated DEI. He eliminated Equal Opportunity Act.
Yeah.
He eliminated a lot of, they eliminated a lot of affirmative action type of stuff previous to that. But you're in the boardroom. You're the one with $35 million of real estate.
Yeah.
You're the one asking for capital. You're from East Texas.
Correct.
Have you ever felt indifferent in a boardroom, probably being the only multicultural guy in the boardroom asking for cash and capital?
No, because a value attracts the capital. So as long as I'm bringing the proper value that makes sense to the bank and or the other person sitting on the side of the boardroom, capital will always come. If you're broke, you're probably because you're not presenting any value at all. So if someone says no to you, and it may be a reason behind it, I always ask them, even when someone told me no, I'd say, okay, what should I have presented to you to get the yes? So
did you ever say, oh, they said no to me because I'm black? They ever said no because I'm a multicultural?
Not at all.
Right?
And if that was the case, man, I would say I don't want to do business with you because your character's flawed. So for me, how can I say this? If you want to show someone's character, give them access to money, power, and sex, and that'll show you their character. Yeah. If there's any character flaws, give them access to those 3 things. And you'll see what actually happens. So when someone tells me, I don't want to do business because you're black, I was like, I don't want your money. All money ain't good money. It's not. No.
I interviewed, it's coming out here pretty shortly. I interviewed the CEO of Fanbase, which is a new app who run out. And I want to make sure I say this correctly because I don't want to mistake it because he's a black CEO.
Yeah.
Who raised $10 million in regulation crowdfunding.
Wow.
For Fanbase.
Wow.
Because it was shooting up the charts because they're getting rid of TikTok. So his app is a combination of TikTok and Instagram. You name it. It's a pretty cool app. I've downloaded it. I posted a couple times on that app too as well.
Cool.
And what I want to make sure that I put the message out there that's just not the app for the black community because it's owned by a black CEO.
Correct.
I want it to be known by everybody's using Fanbase, not multicultural base. So when you hear things like that, like you ought to do business with me, Ladale, because I'm a black-owned business, because I'm a Latino-owned business, because you have to do business because I'm a veteran-owned business. There seems to be like that, I don't know, for lack of a better word, entitlement that you ought to do business with because I am black, because I'm a veteran, because I'm a woman, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
How do you see that when people kind of push that forward, like that's the reason why you ought to be doing business with them?
When someone comes to me with that type of perspective, I'd say I don't want to do business with you.
Interesting.
Because of the fact that if you are trying to coerce me into a business relationship, you're not presenting any value to me at all. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example. When I first began my business career, I grew up in the church, you know what I'm saying? And And I knew all the elders at my local church, all the deacons.
Mm-hmm.
And I had them in my office. And I said, hey, guys, I started my business, I'm getting going.
Yeah.
All black men showed up around. I fed them, showed them presentation. They said, man, I love it today. I said, well, can you guys invest with me? They said, no. I said, why? They said, just don't want to do it. I said, did I make a mess up? No, great presentation.
Mm-hmm.
We have the capital, just don't want to give it to you.
Wow.
Me. It was all black men in the room. And I said, what in the world is going on? And so after that, they left and gave their money to a white man.
Wow.
Now, I had two choices for me to make. Either I can get upset or I could counter move. I decided to counter move. Now, get upset with them. I'm still friends with them to this day.
Upset how? Like upset with them because
of
they
the
said
fact
no to you? Upset because they said no because you're
no
black?
to me. Because like, you know who I am.
In
You saw me
church,
grow
Christian.
up.
Yeah.
You know, we've ate together. I came over to your houses. Like,
Yeah.
you know me.
Yeah.
They just said no, but they went to someone, a white man, and gave him all the money. No problem with it at all.
Yeah.
You know who first invested in me? A white man.
Interesting.
A white man. His name was Dwayne Leeds.
Still remember the first client.
Yes. Dwayne Leeds. He was a former lobbyist in the Reagan administration.
Wow.
Poured into me. He viewed me like I was his son.
Yeah.
And so for me, I just said, money is colorblind.
I agree. It's one color.
Green.
Green.
Green. And it's attracted to no matter if you're black, white,
Yeah.
pink, orange.
Yeah.
It just loves going into people's hands.
Green lights green.
Green lights green.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at things through the lens of color, you deserve to be broke.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. And by the way, for those of you that are watching this right now, how do you feel about this area that a lot of people have conflict over? Like, I should do business with you just because we're Jewish. I should do business with you because we're Christian. I should do business because we're Mormon.
Sure.
No, bro, if you don't have a legit product or service, you don't show up to work, you're lazy. I'll give you another example. When I was in Chicago, because, in the suburbs, there's a difference between a barber in the suburbs than a barber in the city.
Really?
You know what I'm talking about? I want a hood barber. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I want a hood barber.
Yes,
I don't want to go to no damn man lawn.
Yeah, I agree.
And what comes on with a man lawn is a shampoo and a paraffin wax.
No.
I don't give a crap about you
sir.
shampooing my hair. I give a care if my hands come out this thing soft.
Correct.
I want a line up.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I want
Crispy clean.
That's right. So I'm driving around, leaving the office late at night, going back to my house. 11 o'clock at night, boom, there it is. A black-owned, I won't even say black-owned barbershop. I would say a hood barbershop.
Oh.
Hood barbershop. How do I know it's a hood barbershop? Because it didn't have no stupid name like Gentleman's Barbershop. It said Fades with a Z.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fade Zone, right?
Yeah.
Right? So super cuts with a Z. That's how, right? And then got the bullet points, high fade, low fade tapers, graphics with an X.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, hood barber, baby.
Yeah.
I can care less if they're Latino, they're black.
Sure.
I don't give a damn. There's a hood barber
Correct.
in the suburbs.
Yes, sir.
So the next day, I see the hours. Okay, 11 to 7. Okay, boom, I'm going to be there. So the next day after lunch, right, 11 to 12, I mosey on down around 12:30. And I'll go in there, open it. Lights are all off. Doors locked. It says 11 to 7. It's 12:30. What gives? I moved to I go a couple steps to the next suite. There's a women's hair salon for women. Excuse me, ladies. Is the barbershop open? Oh yeah, he'll eventually get in. Eventually get in. So he hasn't come in yet. No, he'll eventually get here. Wow. So that's the reputation he has with you. Interesting.
Wow.
Okay, maybe he was sick.
Sure.
I gave him the benefit of that. By the way, didn't meet him.
Sure.
I go then back the next day, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's got to be there, right? Boom. Same thing. Nobody around.
Wow.
Ladies, is the barbershop? Oh yeah, he was here, but he just left for an errand.
Wow.
Huh, okay. Third time around, 5 o'clock. Nobody. Open, boom, 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 boom. No, locked. Lights are up. Ladies, yeah. I was like, don't worry about it. Tell him he could potentially have a customer here. Sure. I would have put him on my social media because I'm happy there's a hood barber in the burbs. Yeah. I would have sent all my entire office over here.
Wow.
That's why he failed because that person, I've never met them. Wow. I have no clue who they are.
Wow.
That person failed because he wasn't running his business like a business. Regardless of the color of your skin, that person was lazy.
Correct.
That person wasn't following up. The person wasn't treating their business like a business. What's your thoughts on that, big dog?
Well, whenever I hear the word equity, that word is used a lot of the times. There's two types of equity.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah. And you have equity when it comes to capital, right? So therefore, I can give Matt capital, but there's another equity called sweat equity. So if I give Matt $1 million and Matt does nothing, will my money grow? Because there was no sweat equity that was involved.
Yeah.
Even though you have the equity in capital.
Yeah.
If I give Matt an equity capital and you put the sweat behind it and you double my money, it's going to want me to give you more equity for you to actually exert more sweat equity.
Right.
So this DEI garbage, which is to me is trash, without the sweat portion of it, there would be no growth. Merit is what it is. We're in a meritocracy. We need that. Not this DEI garbage, man.
So I think that's what they're replacing the D with M.
Correct.
So meritocracy.
Yes.
Equity, inclusion.
There you go.
Because you earn it, then you earn the equity.
Correct.
And then you're included.
Correct.
I like that one, right?
I like MEI. I like that.
Or we can do DEI. We can say done earned it. Or we can do doing everything inspired.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Like that.
So,
yes.
we can, hey, by the way, if you would create a DEI shirt here, I think we just ideated one, right?
Yes.
If we create a DEI shirt, put it in the comment section below, please, DEI shirt. And by the way, you guys know that if you buy shirts here at the 7 Figure Squad podcast, the proceeds don't go to me. The proceeds go to our favorite nonprofit, which is Slavery No More, which is a nonprofit organization supporting anti-human trafficking to do the crackdowns. Okay. So please, if you want us to create a DEI shirt, put it in the comment section below. All right, here's the first topic. So people owe more money than ever on upside-down car loans. In Q4 2004, 24.9% of new car trade-ins were underwater, up from 20.4% in Q4 2023. So year over year, up 4.5%.
Wow.
So consumers with negative equity owned an average of $6,838, the highest ever recorded. In other words, 1 in 4 owed more than $10,000. And EVs, electric vehicles, are hit the hardest. Those trading in a 2021 Volkswagen ID4 were upside down on average of $10,000 plus. So many loans are front loaded with interest, just like a mortgage, right?
Yes.
And so the payments in the first few years barely reduce the principal, unless it's 0% financing.
Yeah.
Then that, of course, you need the best credit scores for that.
Of course.
But a used car shortage in 2021-22 temporarily kept trade-in values high because it was during pandemic.
Yeah.
And they weren't getting cars coming in from overseas too as well. And so therefore, if there were no new cars coming in, used cars, went up in value. Sir. So consumers also took out longer loan terms and put down smaller payments, which jury warns provides no breathing room. So, bro, yesterday I saw this video. The person I bought a new Mercedes, $500 car payment, financed for 248 months.
Jesus.
What?
Wow.
20-year car loan?
Wow.
So it can keep the...
Wow. And she's celebrating.
She's celebrating.
Celebrating. Look at me.
Without realizing how stupid that sounds.
Dumb.
I can't believe a bank even created a product that way.
Wow.
So what's your thoughts here on underwater car loans and why this is happening?
I think, man, the people's financial IQ is not high enough to be able to understand what's the proper amount of loan you should get on a car. There's a lot of courses out there. There's a lot of books you can actually read that you can actually look at and say, what's the proper car payment, loan term, interest rate based on my credit score. So I think people are spending too much time on social media and not enough time reading any books. That's the problem that I see a lot of times.
Like, why would you, nobody, your car salesman should not be your financial advisor. But they're the people they love and the same people that they hate. Sure. But why do people love and hate car salesmen? They love them when they buy the car from them, don't they? Yeah. But they say, I was taken advantage by a used car salesman or a car salesman. Yeah. Don't ever trust them. But yet you buy them. Yeah. I don't get it. Which one is it? You going to love them? But by the way, my car guy, I love my car guy. Richard Cortez, shout out to Richard Cortez, Palomino Motors. Why? Because I buy my cars right. So therefore, a couple years later, I can trade in, flip it. Correct. Have positive equity. Correct. Without having come up with down payment again. Correct. So therefore, I can drive us. So, correct. People's skew on buying things. Why do you think our communities are much more better consumers than they are investors?
Because of lack of reading. What's to say? I think specifically when it comes to black individuals, the Harvard professor said, if you want to hire something from a black person, put it in the book. But I think that actually it's not just for black people. I think it's for the
middle class.
Yes,
right?
Everybody. I mean, it's people believe that education stops after college. Some even after high school, they stop reading books. They stop investing in themselves. And the thing about it is when you stop learning, really exercising the brain, you're very easy to take advantage of. It's real simple.
Do you have any hacks in terms of buying a car that if you have to finance it, that, like, for example, you got a daughter, right?
Sure.
I mean, I can't really ask you that because daddy's balling, but
no.
But we also want to teach our kids good financial stewardship. So, any tips that you might have in terms of purchasing cars or anything that you might have in terms of people?
I would say
more affordable.
If it's more affordable, I would say if you're a parent, you have a younger child, just begin working on their credit score now, immediately, so that when they walk into a dealership, what happens is they not taking advantage of when it comes to interest rate. Because there's a delta there that the dealership is actually quoting you versus what they're getting from the bank. There's also, business is all about profit margin. That's all it's all about. So how do you begin to shorten that profit margin? You become a better borrower with your credit score. Show that you can actually be a good steward of the resources that you already have.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like that because the only thing you got to watch out for that is if you're dating somebody that doesn't have good credit, they're trying to latch onto your credit.
Correct.
Right?
There you go. Yeah.
The other aspect to us, I would add on to that, which is a great point. So perfect the credit. So by the time your child is 17, 18 years old, they have a 720, 740 plus credit score because they're an authorized user on one of your credit cards and you show them good financials. Maybe they have a secured credit card, 16, 17 years old. The other area I would add on to there as well, a lot of people don't realize, man, these cars, believe it or not, a lot of these cars are built to last.
Yeah. Cars
shouldn't be going, out of style from a mechanical standpoint, 2, 3, 4 years. They may go out of style body wise, but for example, the funniest question I get asked by people because I'm driving my Rolls Royce. Yeah, nice car. What year is it? I said, does it matter?
It's a Rolls Royce.
It's a Rolls damn Royce, right?
My God.
Why are you asking what year my car is? What do you care? Like, is that like a question? By the way, why do people ask that question? I've always been asked. Why do people ask what year your car is? Listen, it might be used to somebody, but it's new to me.
Yeah.
So my hack is don't buy a car brand new.
Never.
0. For me, minimum 5 years.
Yes.
Like I was telling you, when I moved here to Dallas, the first thing I bought was a car because I wanted to establish that I'm a new resident in Dallas and I'm here to create jobs.
Correct.
And one of the fastest way to create jobs is to buy something from somebody.
Correct.
So I go down to a local dealership and I buy a GLS 63 AMG.
Okay.
It's real. Yeah, I love it. I love this car. And when I bought it, so this is what the sales guy didn't do. Because I'm in the market for a new one, but the guy didn't keep in contact with me. Bad sales guy.
Dumb.
Horrible.
Dumb.
And I was exchanging his information. I had him deliver at my house, and his father-in-law is a Marine. He promised me and introduced me to his father-in-law who's a Marine. Yeah. Never did, never followed up.
Wow.
Never said thank you for the sale, never showed me new cars along the way. And he dropped his house F out my car, and he knows who I am. I put money smart guy in the whole thing. It's not like he's always lazy. He's just a lazy salesman.
Wow.
And so I'm buying this car in 2021, but it's a 2017, but it's spending $120,000 on a car. I spent $80 on the car. Okay. Fast forward 7 years. Now car's worth $50,000, depreciate $30,000, but I was able to write off that depreciation.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm able to sell it for $55,000, $60,000. And I'm free and clear. I don't owe anything. I'm not negative equity.
Good.
Because the depreciation was knocked off in the first 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But the thing there too is I only put 7,800 miles per year in a car because it's 51,000 miles in a car.
Okay.
So, because I got 2 cars, right? So I buy them both the same way. So I basically split miles. So one car, 15,000 miles. 2 cars, $7,800. And guess what the other car is? It's made for business use too as well. And that was about 5 years old because my Rolls Royce is not brand new. My Rolls Royce is 2017, 18. And they stopped making it, I think, in 19, the convertible.
Gotcha.
So that'd be number one, is don't buy it brand new.
I agree with that, man, because my rich dad, Precious Swaggerty, he's my former high school basketball coach. Now he's balling. And he told me he owned a ton of used car dealerships. He said, son, when you begin making money, let me give you some wisdom. I said, I'm all ears, Dad. He said, never buy a new
That's
car.
what he said. Wow.
He said, buy a used car. He said, don't go out there and stunt. Buy a used car. He said, 5 years up. 5 years is a good start. I said, oh, wow. He said, never buy you.
Amen.
So,
How many of y'all got some game from that? Put it in the comment section. Buy used versus buy new. What do you want to do? Put it in the comment section. We'll buy used.
yes, sir.
All right. And the other area here too as well. The next topic here: five most overvalued housing markets in 2025, including one where mortgage costs exceed the average income. So at the 5, who do you think number 5 is? Overvalued. You, Mr. Real Estate, what do you think is overvalued?
Man.
Let me give you
Miami.
Let me give you a hint. 4 out of the 5, they're in California.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Number 1 is not in California, but
I would say 5, Los Angeles.
yes, yes. Too many Americans are paying too much of their income to keep a roof over their heads. New data shows.
Yeah.
So the loss of 100. The thing about LA, Long Beach, the loss of 12,000 structures in recent fires will further inflate costs for buyers and renters. Already one of the priciest markets, affordability continues to deteriorate. And by the way, I don't know what happened today at the recording of this podcast, but State Farm is advocating for the state of California Department of Insurance Commissioner that they need to do an emergency premium raise.
Agree.
Because they already paid out $1 billion in claims.
Wow.
And in order for them to stay in business, otherwise they're going to leave, they need to do an emergency raise. So guess who that's going to affect? Everybody.
Everybody.
You know, everybody. Number 4, keep it in California. So number 5 is LA.
San Francisco.
Close. Keep going. It is San something.
San Bernardino?
Close. That's they're on the list. Keep going south. The furthest south San you can think of.
San Francisco.
Perfect weather.
Not Sacramento.
Perfect weather all the time. San Diego.
San Diego. I'm going San Diego. How about the other San Diego? Wow.
Average
Really?
income earners are essentially squeezed out as home prices rise faster than wages. A worsening housing shortage has made this former affordable city unattainable. A lot of veterans, by the way. A lot of veterans in San Diego. You know?
Wow.
And they're all of them are leaving. So some of the best citizens, some of the best employees and entrepreneurs you'll have are veterans. They're leaving your state. They're leaving LA and San Diego. Third one, you said San Bernardino, Riverside.
Wow. Okay.
Once an affordable bedroom community, Inland Empire homers now pay more than some coastal areas.
Jeez.
So I was invited to speak at one of our offices out there. I was in a tollway. I think it's the 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the tollway. Is it the 15 or one of the tollways? No, it's off the 15 because 15 is public.
Okay.
But there's not a tollway there in the Inland Empire in San Bernardino. And we're driving one of the exits and it says toll $4. I'm like, damn. I mean, $4 for a toll. He goes, no, that's just for one exit.
Huh?
Yeah. Next toll, another $4.
Dang.
Third exit, another $4. So, he goes, this is during non-rush hour.
Damn.
Because during rush hour, that's like $8 per exit.
Yeah.
Exit. By the way, for those of you watching in your San Bernardino, California, am I lying? Put it in the comment section below. So shout out to Christian Oriana and his wife Flora Oriana, but that's where they're at.
Wow.
So their office is right off the highway, the tollway, excuse me. And for people to get around the highways, $4 or $5 per toll.
Good.
And then that's
is there any way around it?
local.
Wow. That's crazy.
See, now I got local traffic.
Wow.
So there's no fast way around San Bernardino. Okay, number 2. You said San Francisco, right?
Uh-huh.
Despite a double-digit drop in prices, it's still unaffordable due to years of housing supply not keeping up with job growth.
Okay.
Most individuals can't afford housing, even with market cooling. So,
Wow.
on top of that, have you seen the condition of San Francisco?
It's trash. Horrid. I mean, from crime to how they run
Homelessness.
the government, homelessness.
People pissing and shitting all over the damn.
It's bad, man. Come on, bro. That's not appealing at all. Would you want to live there? Hell no.
Like, would you want that guy to ever, the governor, Governor Newsom, right? Would you ever want to treat a guy like that? Treat a guy as your future president if he can't take care of his own home?
He disqualified.
Can't take care of his home state.
Disqualified. No. If you vote for him, you a fool. you the fool.
Because 4 of the 5 most overvalued housing markets in 2025 are in that guy's state. And so if people eventually leave San Francisco, if can't afford to live in San Francisco, can't afford to live in San Bernardino, Riverside, can't afford to live in San Diego. Speaking of Riverside and San Bernardino, when I was in the Marines out there in Tustin, El Toro, they couldn't afford to live in Tustin, El Toro area. This is late 90s. They were driving all the way out to Marietta. They were driving all the way out to Lake Elsinore. They were driving all the way out to San Bernardino, which is an hour away. 15, 20 years later, it's now unaffordable.
Wow.
You know, so it's
Wow.
But 4 of those 5 most expensive states are out of California. Okay, what do you think is number 1?
Give me the
Honest.
state.
Woohoo!
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay.
Hawaii.
All right. Kahului Lahaina. Basically, it's
Lahaina.
Basically, it's Maui.
Maui, okay.
Even before 2023, remember the fires devastated Maui too.
Yes.
Locals struggled with high shipping costs, limited land, and a shortage of skilled workers. Intense competition for retirees and investors make home ownership essentially out of reach for many residents. So even local Hawaiians can't afford to live in their own indigenous
That's crazy,
state.
man. That's crazy.
So when you see this stuff, bro, okay, listen, all Republican or Democrat run cities?
All Democrat.
All Democrat run cities. So when we see these type of things, and I've never thought about policy before, I never thought about politics before.
Sure.
When we see certain consistencies like this, that some of the most expensive, worst run cities and states in America are Democrat run cities. But yet people still feel that the Democrats have earned their vote.
Sure.
How do you feel that? How do you feel like as a multicultural black man in America?
Well,
You deserve to be, gotta be Democrat all the way, right? I don't know why it's like that, but
I would say numbers don't lie. It doesn't lie at all. For me, as a real estate developer and private equity investor, I go to places to where it doesn't add to my bottom line. Those areas are high regulated areas. So therefore, if I want to go build a new house there, or a new subdivision there, the permitting process is crazy. I don't know if you saw the video of Grant Cardone. He was talking about all the permits in LA. It's about 20 of them just to begin to build a house.
Yeah.
So this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I did a video on it. It's going to take a year to get permits.
It's ridiculous.
6 to 12 months to get permits. That's first phase,
First phase.
right? And then another year to build. And that's right. So a year and a half out, assuming you got the money, cash and capital right now to rebuild.
Exactly.
You know what's the permitting process here in Dallas?
In Dallas, depending on what city it is, Dallas is a little bit more liberal. So it's a little bit more, but it's not as bad. Probably the most friendliest place is probably a Parker or a Lucas or a Plano.
How fast to get the permit? So if I want to build a house today or want to rehab my house, home improvement, how long is the permitting
Depending on what
process?
you're doing, 2 or 3 weeks.
Versus 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe at best 90 days. I'm talking about as far as when it comes to if you're doing something brand new from ground up, it's about 90 days.
See,
to 6 months.
That's attractive to a real estate investor because so many things can happen in 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, because you have to go in front of the planning committee. They got to approve it. They have to go in front of the city council. They have to, of course, approve it. Once it's approved at the city council, then you can begin that whole process. Yeah.
So for those of you looking for ways to stretch your dollar, these 5 states we just mentioned, 5
Stay
cities
away.
and states,
Stay away.
you got to consider staying
Yeah.
away. All right, next topic here. Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt leans on faith after the LA fires. He says, we trust in God. Isn't it interesting that so many people today are professing God or professing their faith or professing Jesus, the Lord and Savior? Where before it's like, hey, if you say you're a Christian, bro, low key, man, don't be so bold about it.
Sure. Well, specifically in Hollywood, really, them professing Christ affected their bottom line. Now you had some people like the Denzel Washington and the Chris Pratt saying, I really don't care about that at all. I'm going to profess my faith.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see them kind of standing up and saying, no, Christ is my king.
The Lifeline Fellowship Christian Center in Altadena, California, which had been a spiritual home for nearly 2 decades, was destroyed by the Eden fire in early January, displacing 19 congregants and leaving 13 families without homes.
Wow.
Right now, the physical building of Lifeline is down to ash. But the Lord promised to give beauty for it, and so we instructed to, let's rise from it, let's grow from it, Chris Pratt was saying, and we're thankful for that. The worship leader, Theo Hawkins, admitted struggling with the new norm of gathering in a different location.
Wow.
But Pastor Dorsey reminded the congregation that even in loss, the cross still stands.
Amen.
Praise God.
Amen.
Standing atop the rubble of their former church, the charred purple and white cross became a symbol of hope.
Yeah. There's blessing in pain. There's blessing in pain. There's blessing in the toil.
Yeah.
And I think at times, this is the one beautiful thing about Christ is, have you ever noticed, Matt? Christ runs to the suffering.
It's right.
He never retreats from it. People believe that people think that when he was sweating like drops of blood in the Garden of Gethsemane, he wasn't stressed about what was going to happen to him as far as death. That was the first time he was going to be away from his father. That was why he was sweating.
Wow.
Sweating. And so he was welcomed the pain. He welcomed the suffering. And it's just his patience, his endurance, it shocks me. And you know my story, man, when it came to my son. That right there, man,
Remind everybody, for those that see the...
About 5 years ago, my wife and I were expecting our first son. I have 2 little girls, 16 and 12. And you know me, son, carry on the name, happy. We actually
For sure.
had a gender reveal on Facebook. Everything was great, man. That was over the hill. My wife got checked to the hospital for preeclampsia. No problem. We knew that was going to happen. But she called me at about 27 and a half weeks, and it's on Sunday morning, saying, hey, come to the hospital. She's in the hospital. I'm at the house. And she come to the hospital, and while she's crying, I said, honey, what's going on? She said, I'm bleeding. I immediately got off the couch, rushed upstairs, got the girls, took them over to their aunt's house, and my aunt kind of knew. And I got in the car, and I'm driving to the hospital, and I'm bawling, and I'm saying, Lord, do it again. Raise him from the dead. But if you don't, prepare my heart for what you're about to put me through. So I parked the car. I run into the hospital, Matt. Like I was with the doctor. And she said, Mr. Buggs? I said, yeah. I said, he's gone. She said, yeah, he is. And I said, so we can't go in and resuscitate him? She says, no. Unfortunately, Mr. Buggs, how God made the body, the placenta separated from the wall. And because of that, the body chose your wife over
The baby.
The baby. And now I haven't seen my wife yet. And so this is new information for me. And so I breathe for a second and I walk around the corner like I was with my wife. She loses it because she's going through it physically. And I'm like, Lord, what do I do here? And so I'll go over and wrap my arms around her. And I'm having to be strong for her.
Yeah.
His kept coming because the next second the doctor came in and said, hey, we got to take you into labor and delivery. We said, for what?
What?
Look at this baby out of your wife. She's going to die because the baby is poisoning her body. And so now this is new information. So now we have to get her ready because her liver was shutting down. I'm sorry, kidneys were shutting down. And I said, okay.
Because the baby was now starting to decay.
Yes.
And it's starting to give off toxins.
Oh, wow. Yes. And so they drive us into the labor and delivery room, man, and we'll go to the C-section, man. And when you hear the words, Matt, Michael Emmanuel Buggs, time of birth, X, and time of death, X, in the same breath, while you're holding your sons in your hands dead. That's a chilling statement. And my wife is crying, I'm crying, and Matt, we begin the hymn, sing the song, Hallelujah, while holding our son. And the doctor said, what are you doing? I said, well, the only thing I know how to do right now is just worship. And so we're in the room worshiping. My wife, my kids, the doctor, praising the Lord. This is why we're holding our dead son in my hands. And then 2 last things. Gabby, my oldest, said, Dad, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, Dad. Sure, baby. She said, if God is so good, why do you take my call?
Oh my gosh.
And I kind of stepped back. I said, baby, that's a phenomenal question. Can I give you different perspective? She said, sure. I said, baby, did we have all the facts? She said, no. I said, who did? She said, well, Jesus did. So it's kind of like he had the whole puzzle put together. I said, yeah. I said, why does it make decisions on half the facts or all the facts? She said, Dad, all the facts. I said, that's why we trust that Christ knew what was best. She said, Dad, that's the most logical and the wisest thing you could have said to me. But Matt, I hadn't mourned yet.
Of course you haven't. Of course you haven't.
I hadn't mourned yet. And so my wife told me when she got home, go mourn. So I went into my office and was bawling like a little boy. I was mad at God, angry at him. And the Lord said, Ladale, tell me how you feel about it. I said, Lord, I want to spit in your face. I want to cuss you out. I want to flick you off. He said, son, I understand. He said, but can I give you a different perspective? I said, Dad, sure. He said, you don't think it hurt me to see my son getting beat for nothing? He said, how about this, Ladale? He said, my son hanging on the cross and asked me a question and knowing the answer, and I had to turn my back on him. And I said, Lord, thank you so much for sharing this discussion with me. I said, but Lord, your son got up, and in 3 days to send it to you. And right now he's at your right hand. The son you gave me the desire to have, I won't see him again into glory. And even you control that. Matt, he said, you are correct, and the discussion was over. It was, I am God.
Like that.
You are not. Be okay with that. And for me, Matt, I am okay with the unknown. Do I struggle? Every day. Because you never get rid of the pain. That's why I don't want to go here, I'm going to go this. That's why when it comes to abortion, man, I'm like, guys, if you're having an abortion to get rid of the pain, you never will. It's always there. Because it's a piece, it's you. It is you. Every day I mourn for my son. Sometimes I be in meetings, man, and the emotions will just come. And I say, give me a second. Because they come out of nowhere. But then I say, Lord, it's Philippians 4:3, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. The one thing that God has allowed for us to experience is whenever you and I praise him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets to inhabit our praise. He gets to enjoy that. But the one thing that he gets to share with us is his suffering. And we don't want to share that with him. But we want him to share our praise of him. The suffering is a part of the fellowship as well, and I'm okay. Yes, sir, man.
That was deep, bro.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I had a cousin, my niece. They were ready to go. The baby room was all ready to go, and they're ready to receive the baby coming home. And then she gives birth, and then at the very last moment, the umbilical cord wraps around her neck and chokes her out, and she gives birth to a stillborn child.
Jesus,
and and so I remember getting the news, and I'm about to go up on stage to talk, and I got to collect myself before I go out there. But yeah, man, her name was Faith, and I know she's up there.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't imagine my cousin. I had another cousin, same thing happened to as well. So I've got two cousins that gave birth to babies that never was received to their earth home, but obviously they're on their home.
Sure.
And I'm reminded of this book in the Bible in Job, in Job 38, and God asked Job, because Job was going through all the suffering.
Yeah.
You're talking about somebody who lost their family. He lost his family.
So did.
He lost his wife. He lost his kids.
So did.
He's going through a lot of stuff. And because God and the devil are having a conversation. Because the only reason why Job is praising you is because everything's going right in his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, really, let's test my son. Job.
Test it out. And
in the process, Job's wrestling too as well. He's mad. He's pissed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got boils in his body. And then God asked this question, Job chapter 30, verse 2. He says, who are you to question my wisdom?
Ooh.
Who are you to question my wisdom with your ignorant, empty words? God.
Man, brother.
And I want to encourage everybody, we don't have time to go through the podcast on this, but go to Job chapter 38, and that be your Bible study for the week.
Man.
Because if bad things haven't happened to you, brace for impact.
Yes.
Because I pray that things don't happen to you, but here's what I do know. In our lives, things will happen to you one way or another. Some more deeply than others.
Correct.
But I know bad things, a lot of things in your life is not going to go the way you planned.
Yes.
And in that moment, when you're wrestling with God, I've wrestled with God. I've been angry with God.
Man,
but not to that depth. But
it's just, man, this is the one thing that kind of perplexes me. God says it's good for you. And I'm like, Lord, how is this good for me? But I would do it all over again, man.
It's a strengthening of the faith somehow, some way.
It is.
I just say this to myself: like when you find yourself in the worst position, that's when God does His best work,
man.
And so, speaking of God and parents and children.
Yeah.
This article, next topic here, parents should never give this 2-word compliment to their kids. Saying, you want to know it? Here are the 2 words. Saying, good job, does not damage kids, said child psychologist, but it is a conversation ender.
Wow.
Right?
Interesting.
She explained that when a child shares an achievement, they are seeking sincere validation, and parents should double down on building our kids' confidence. Instead of the default phrase, Kennedy urged parents to have more tools in their toolbox to foster deeper conversations and stronger self-esteem. I'll give you an example. You pick up your kids. How was school? Good.
Yeah.
It's a conversation ender. Yeah. So even to my 5-year-old, Jordan, I'm picking up, hey, kids, I know what school went good. So Jordan, what did you learn today in school that you remember the most? Right? Oh, I learned to put together my fractions. Fractions? You're in kindergarten. What do you mean fractions? Right? What are you talking about? A crazy story. So how is that conversation with you and your babies in terms of, fostering confidence?
Well, I have two girls and they're wired totally different.
Isn't it funny? Same house, same DNA?
Same, everything. Gabby, my oldest, she'll talk you till your ear fall off. She loves to talk. Her favorite sport is running that mouth. That's her favorite sport.
First place.
First place, baby.
Gold medal.
First place. Every time. Now,
shout out to the Buggs family.
Yes. Now, Isabella, she's one of those, how was school? Good.
That's it.
How was everything? Great. Like, babe, what does that mean? Like, can we go a little deeper? What'd you learn today? Same old stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good, though.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I love it.
Yeah.
That for example, my son, he's doing well in sports, right? So, hey, son, what was the best thing that you remember from a game as well as the worst thing you remember from a game? What was your good, your bad? If you were an analysis right now, what was your best play? What was your worst play? And what area of improvement do you see yourself for the next game? That's my question with him in terms of sports, right? Because, everybody's going to talk, pat on the back, pat on, good job. Cool. All right. By the way, good job. You got that from me. The next question I want to ask you, though, is those things.
Correct.
Right? Another one. What was an area of the game that the opponent got you on that caused you to adjust that you didn't face before? Right?
Great questions.
These are some of the things. But by the way, what are some of the questions you asked your kids, outside of good job, how was school, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah. Have you even thought about it? Put it in the comment section below. The other area I want to talk about here is porn. Okay, we talk about relationships and father. So porn here. Let me get to that article here. Where is it here? Blah, blah, blah. I got it on the wrong page. Where are we here? Okay. Porn stole my innocence. How pornography exposure condition abuse, self-harm of teenage girl.
Yeah.
So Rachel Robinson, pornography exposure survivor, spoke at the National Center of Sexual Exploitations about Texas House Bill 1181 requiring age identification on adult websites. Knowing that early exposure at age 7 led to 13-year-long battle with pornography addiction. This is a woman.
Wow. Yep.
Okay, so it's not dudes. It's a woman. It caused for her severe mental issues. Porn caused me to hate my body, question my worth, isolate myself from others, and consume violent, graphic content until I often felt sick to my stomach. Yeah. Y'all have a testimony with this, don't you?
We do. You can go to marriagehelp.org and you can hear me and my wife's story. And we talk about our marital issues and how God redeemed that. One of the issues that my wife struggled with was porn. That was a big struggle.
It was not you, it was your wife.
It's my wife. And it came into fruition, and she's okay with me talking about it, it came to fruition while she was in high school. And she thought that when she got married to me that I would solve all the problems. But not at all, period. And we went through a marriage ministry called Reengage at our local church. And the Lord was like, hey, you got to reveal this to your husband. And man, she hid it so well, man. I thought she was in the CIA. She was that good. But at the exact same time, she revealed it to me. And so my first question was, I said, okay, first of all, this is kind of on me. Yeah. Because I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't providing some sort of the proper picture for you at the house.
So you felt inadequate as a man. Was that a feeling of inadequacy?
No, not at all for me. Oh. No, it was more of I wasn't the proper leader. So mine was more of I sucked as a leader in this area. It's like how did I allow this into my house? Okay, what was I not listening to? Was I not studying her? Because the Bible tells us to study our wives. So I'm like, what did I drop the ball at? So I began to self-examine myself initially. Then I said, all right, honey, how can I serve you better? Why did you turn to porn? What value were you looking to get there that you didn't get?
Wow.
So I began to ask her those thought-provoking questions about, okay, so why do you turn to this? What did you watch? What for? And she let me know. She said, it's something that I watched when I was in high school and I got addicted to it. It was more for her to kind of control when she would get off herself.
Got it. Yeah.
And she was like, that was real selfish. I mean, the Lord told her, like, no, this is even that is worship to me. And so after that, man, he had that problem no more at all, period.
Wow.
Because we like jackrabbits now, brother. Jackrabbits now, man. Thank you, Lord. Yes. Bedside Baptist, baby. Bedside Baptist. Yes, sir.
But by the way, I've been with my wife now. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. It's going to be 10 years.
Congrats, man.
And we've been dating for 13.
Good.
The biggest fear I had, can I give you a confession?
Holla at me.
The biggest fear, I guess, for lack of a better term, setback or hesitation of getting married is saying, you know what, bro? You know, you lived this life. You know, you had a lot of variety in the past. You know, you know, Baskin 31s, whatever the case may be. You know, but now you're gonna you're gonna give all that now to just one woman. So completely no more giving. And by the way, before her, I was single for 12 years. I was single for 12. Maybe had 3 girlfriends, 6 months. The longest was the relationship.
Wow.
So I was really focusing on my kids. I was really focusing on my business. Didn't really have time for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I finally found a girl I'm dating, she's marriage material, right? And so I'm thinking, but now I want to give all opportunity up, even though I wasn't exercising the opportunity 12 years prior.
Sure.
I tell you this, brother, it's been the best thing for me, man.
Man, amen.
It's the best thing.
Shout out to the Lord all the years.
To this day, there's things that there's things I'm experiencing.
Come on.
That like
talk about it.
Where did that come from?
Hey, holy fire freak. Holy fire freak. Yes, sir. Talk about it.
Like do that.
Hey.
Next time. Can we do that again?
Talk to the people.
Like I crave my wife.
Come on.
You know, but I don't crave that hustler game.
Yes.
You know, and I'm thinking about, this is what God meant.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Hey, there's a holy lust you can have for your wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's the word.
It's a holy lust.
High level, high lust.
Yes, sir. But hey,
lust.
man, my wife is fine as one in the sunshine all the time. I'm like, baby, I need you morning, noon, and night.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know what I'm talking about? But the exact same time for me, man, is I love worshiping. I call it worship with my wife. It's worship.
Yeah, for sure.
Jesus is in the room. Yes, he is. I'm the pastor. She's the congregation. Somebody shout.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Come on. Hey, that's in the scriptures. That's in the scriptures. Yes. If you was it Song of Solomon? Is up in there?
Of course. That was the romantic book of the Bible, right?
It was one section they were talking about breastises and going and you know you're going down a little bit. I said, hey, this is the scriptures.
We were just like Solomon then.
Hey, come on, praise God. It's okay, talk about it. Pastors, talk about this.
Hello.
Come on.
But yeah, but that is my biggest prayer. I pray for the people that we coach and mentor who are single,
yes,
who got divorced and now they're single parents or they're looking to remarry again. I pray that right relationship comes in their life. But the hardest part with that too as well is also the patience that goes behind it.
Yes.
You know, it's like you're demanding God. You told me, Lord, if I honor you and bless you, you're going to send me a spouse. But people want it on their timing because they're horny right now.
Yeah.
You know, they want to get fulfilled right now somehow, some way. So how did you know for you that your wife was like, okay, I'm going to wife this one up. I'm a man. I got options too as well. She got options to herself. At least on your end, how did you know that, okay, I got to wife her up and I have to honor in this regard?
If you read the book of Genesis, it talks about Isaac and Rebekah. And it talked about Isaac was not looking for Rebekah. Isaac's father brought Rebekah to him. He was out there meditating and praying. Read the scriptures. It's right there.
Okay.
And so for me, I said, okay, should I be looking for a spouse or should I be pursuing my purpose in Christ?
Yeah. And
allow for my purpose to draw me my spouse. So what I did was I began to focus on my purpose in Christ, and the Lord, just like Abraham did, brought me Cynthia. Yeah, so I didn't go looking for Cynthia. The Lord brought her to me. Yeah. So I always tell everybody, if you're looking for a spouse, pursue your purpose in life for your purpose to drive it. Because if you go looking for it, you're going to pick the wrong person.
I couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Amen. Hallelujah. Speaking of trade, let's talk about tariffs.
Oh,
Tariffs. So it's the rumor that price hikes are on their way because of tariffs, right? And so if you look at some of the most expensive things that's going to happen to us in terms of tariffs, let's take a look at this. So the most expensive things that we're expecting are at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Cherry tomatoes.
Okay.
So, if you love cherry tomatoes, you're going to experience. Okay, next one. By the way, maple syrup is coming up in price.
Interesting.
It's Canada.
Canada.
The whole
Yeah,
tariff thing
the
there.
whole
So
thing. Yeah.
if you like some syrup with your maple syrup at that,
It's going to be all right.
which come from Canada,
Yeah.
maybe you want to flip over back to Aunt Jemima.
Come on. Ain't your mama. That's good. That's good syrup too.
Tequila is going to go up.
Mexico.
Mexico. That's right.
Mexico.
Avocados is going up in price.
Mexico too.
Guacamole, if you like guacamole, avocado toast, that's going to go up in price too as well.
Yeah.
Because, Mexico supplies more than 80% of U.S. avocados.
Wow.
Now with the trade tariff going on now, with the tariff with Mexico, it's going to go up.
Yeah.
But
He paused it though. He paused a little bit of it as well too.
yeah, that's right. He's right. So we'll talk about that here in a second. 1 million Tonka trucks are about to go up in price.
Ain't that from China?
But I thought it was American-made type of toy.
Ain't that from China?
Oh, they outsource that to China too as well.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Wow.
Jay, former CEO of Basic Fund, Warren Price could jump from $29.99 today to $35.
35.
And here's the crazy part, bro. I remember we're just asking this to Philly because Philly here's Philly. How old are you, Philly? 20. He's 21 years old. So you're 45 and 51. How many of you guys remember the song? Now,
Are you 51? Bro?
I am 51, brother.
I ain't know you're 51.
So follow this story. Follow on with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I'm sorry.
I don't want to grow up.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Na 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 na. I forgot about this.
I forgot the whole song, but did you know the song?
You don't know the song.
But pray for me.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Yeah. I found Toys R Us this past weekend. You know where I found it?
Really?
Inside Macy's.
Really?
2 aisles.
2 hours?
The Toys R Us
Wow.
aisles with inside.
Wow.
But that's what happens when you make bad deals because 80% of toys sold in the U.S. are made in China.
Wow.
China. And so I'm going to go over this list here real quick. So the top exporter, okay? So in other words, if we're in business, right? And let's say, for example, we're in business and you're sending me referrals.
Yeah.
You're sending me leads, right? That's called export.
Yes.
In other words, your relationships are being sent to me so I can make money.
Correct.
Right? So who's at the top? At 3.3, let me zoom this up. At the top, at $3.3 trillion in exports is China.
Oh, China, yeah.
Okay. Number 2 is us. Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between us and China though? So China sends out 3.3, but also what are they bringing in? So other countries can make money with them.
Yeah.
So China here imports 2.7. So they bring in to sell $2.7 trillion of product, but they export out 3.3. So in other words, they're making more money selling their products than they are selling other people's products.
Correct.
So that's a deficit.
Correct.
That's in this terms, trade deficit. Okay. America. So we export $2 trillion.
Yeah.
So we make money by exporting our goods.
Correct.
But our import, selling to us, our citizens, 3.3. That's a $1.3 trillion trade deficit.
Yes.
So what's my, can you help the listener kind of break this down in layman's terms? So in other words, what's your interpretation when I just said Texas, when I said United States and China, who's getting the wool pulled over the eyes? Who's getting got?
The U.S. isn't God.
Yeah.
It's very easy to see. China is in a trade surplus.
Yep.
We're in a deficit.
That's right.
That's because of bad trade deals by inept leadership in the past.
That's right.
It's real simple. Anybody that think this is great to keep going with, get checked. You may have COVID. Something may be wrong with your mind. Something's wrong with you. It's real simple.
And the top trade partner to America, people think it's China. It's not.
It's Japan.
It's Canada and Mexico.
Canada. Okay, Canada, Mexico. Okay.
Canada, Mexico.
So that's right.
So Canada, and Mexico. So Canada, and Mexico make the most selling to the United States.
Wow.
So, but we don't make money selling to Canada and Mexico.
Yes.
So they're profiting from selling in our house.
Yes, but we're not doing the same thing.
Yeah. So for those of you that's figuring this stuff out, do you feel that's unfair? Do you think that's unjust? Shouldn't it be equal? And so that's what Trump is saying. Listen, if you want to make money off us, no problem with you making money off us.
Great.
But why tariff us when we sell our products over to your country?
Correct.
So what's your opinion on this whole controversy? All of our prices are going to go up. I mean, we're joking about it here.
Sure.
But in your opinion, is it a real fear that we really have to brace for impact?
Not necessarily at all. As you read through the products that may go up, that's not every day. And people are not buying those products every single day.
Yeah.
But at the exact same time, a tariff is the only tool belt that the president actually has to even out trade deals. He's forcing negotiation and opening up competition for what to be manufactured here in America at the exact same time. I like that play, so to speak. I don't like that play too. Deals.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Because what happened to American jobs? You know, for example, U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
It's U.S. Steel, right?
Correct.
Back in the day, steel was a big deal in America.
Yeah.
For example, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Cleveland Steel.
Yeah.
Cleveland. People don't even realize it. At one point, Cleveland was a very rich city.
Rich. Yes, it was.
Even what's his name? The richest man in the world at one point, Rockefeller. Cleveland. Yeah, you said you may have been to Chicago. Have you heard of Gary, Indiana?
Yes.
Yeah, one of the richest cities in America.
Whoa.
Nothing today.
Wow.
It's gutted out. Why? Because one of the biggest industries there was steel.
Wow.
So we outsourced that to China.
Yeah.
And check this out: nine of the top 15 steel companies in the world, 9 of those companies are Chinese. 9 of those companies are Chinese.
Bad deals.
And then when you're looking at Japan looking to purchase our company called U.S. Steel, imagine that. U.S. Steel is being bought by Japan because they know how strong that company is.
Correct.
That's to me, that's pathetic. That's what happens. That's what Trump is talking about. What happened here?
Yeah.
Who made these bad deals? We need to come back to the table and renegotiate. And how you come back to the table and renegotiate is tariffs.
Correct.
You know, let's put these sanctions.
Correct.
Let's come back to the table
and renegotiate. If not, pay up.
That's it.
Pay up.
That's it. So, you know, so even people that see these, you know, for example, Canada, the topic here is that Canada and Mexico strike back with tariffs on American goods hours after Trump's executive action. You know, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo ordered retaliatory tariffs. Canada announced retaliatory tariffs. So I think there's just posturing going on.
It is.
Right? Posturing.
It is.
And what's the traditional media going to say? Who's at fault?
Trump's at fault. Trump's at fault.
Of course.
But
without realizing you're seeing one of the biggest art of the deal case studies going on at this very moment.
Wonderful
So-
deal. The reason why is because we're the golden goose. Everybody wants our consumers. So Trump is saying, hey, if you want to play, you got to pay. It's real simple. No more free rides here. No more free rides. I don't know about you. If we have 20 trade deals and 17, hypothetically, are imbalanced, that's terrible leadership. Would you agree?
100%. Bad deal makers.
Bad deal makers.
And all these other word leaders like, oh, we just got to run America.
It's ridiculous. It didn't make any sense at all. So if everyone is saying, well, tariffs is going to drive us some costs, it may short term.
Yeah.
But if it's going to right the ship, I'll be okay with that.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, so there might be some short term like, oh, what's going on here? But I think when push comes to shove, I think overall, think about here's another thing too as well, something to consider. If they realize that American consumers or American retailers or American companies aren't buying as much product as they used to be in the past, what is the other manufacturer forced to do? Well, how come you're not buying more of our product? Well, because of tariffs. Well, so what our consumers are going to pay this is as much as they can pay. So what are they potentially going to be forced to do? They're going to probably be forced to drop the price of the product, you know, discount a little bit, right, to make sure that even with the tariff added on, that could be a play. But
also, you can look at it as well when it comes to competition. Hypothetically, okay, you're buying a product from me. I'm selling it to you at a certain price point. Then let's say, and my wife comes in and says, hey, I can offer that same product to you at a cheaper price point, but it's made in America. Because of the fact that it creates competition now. Now it's forced me to make a decision. Now, wait a minute. And I have competition now. I have to now come back to the table and say, hey, man, hold on, wait a minute, man. We had a deal here. Well, hold on. I get the same product, better quality for cheaper price. here in America. So it forces competition. It forces ingenuity because Americans are very smart when it comes to creating products and services.
And the pushback to that is that they say, well, American labor is too expensive. Again, everything sourced here is too expensive. Well, guess what? Here's what I love about free enterprise and capitalism. If you don't improve, you're going to lose the business.
Correct.
And I think the American spirit will say, you know what, let's find a way to streamline all this to make sure we can provide that product or service.
Yes.
And stop outsourcing to China and empowering and financially putting money in the bank of our enemies.
Yeah.
Because they want nothing to do to see them succeed over us.
Yeah.
They want to be the superpower. They want to crush.
Yes.
And that's what they've boldly, China's boldly said that.
Yes.
Even for me, I've been conscious of things I buy. It's where's it made? Where's it made? Where's it made? Even though my purchase may be just be a speck in a spectrum, I think for me, it's just following that principle of I just want to be conscious. I'd rather buy from a USA entrepreneur, a USA business owner, because now I feel better that I'm supporting local jobs. I'll give an another example. I go to a restaurant and I ask, where'd you guys get your food? From some warehouse, right? That's all the restaurants combined, or do you support some local farmer? So even for me, I'm even going to the restaurants that support local farmers because they're supporting the local economy.
Correct.
So as we wrap up, Big Dog, I want to go over some of these, a couple videos I want to share. I'll get your reaction on.
I love it.
Okay. So a couple videos here. Let's check this out. So why was U.S. aid funding the production of heroin in Afghanistan? So let's take says here in this, what we found is that American taxpayer money has funded irrigation canals, farming equipment, even fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, mainly benefiting who? Taliban. Our enemies. So how do you feel about who discovered this? Doge.
Great job, Doge.
Great job. So how do you feel about an entrepreneur, Elon Musk, analyzing how America is spending its money?
Excellent. As you know, any good CEO or founder, when it comes to acquiring a company or beginning a company, or growing a company, scaling, you're going to look at where can we cut some fat from? Where is money bleeding from? And then you find it, and then you fix the bottleneck so the system runs a lot more smoother. That's all he's doing. He's bringing a private sector type of mentality into public financing. And unfortunately, the bureaucrats don't like that at all.
Now, if you guys go to X, right, you just go follow Doge. Let's just go here. Oh, I guess I can't go there right now. But if you guys follow Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, they're listing out all the inefficiencies. For example, you appreciate this in real estate. They went to one building, the Department of Agriculture. They found that they can seat 4,300, 700 employees. But because of, people working from home and not needing as many butts in those seats to fill that building up, they found that only 400 people are there. 96% of the building is empty. Wow. It goes down. And so they're canceling leases, they're canceling, and you and I are paying for the maintenance and upkeep of empty federal buildings, which that money can be used to help veterans, to help our infrastructure of a company without always having to raise capital. Because that's what I'm sick and tired of. Why do we have so many damn stimulus plans, man? Stimulus. Print cash. And here's my thing too as well. If they can print cash, then why do we need to be taxed?
Great question.
Why tax us if you can just print cash? They just keep my money.
That's exactly what the president of El Salvador actually came in and talked about. Yes, that's a great question.
President Bukele, right?
Yes.
By the way, I just saw a news that he says we'll welcome we'll welcome the people you want in your country to our country, but it's going to cost you.
Yes. Brilliant move.
The bad people in your country, bring them to El Salvador. It's going to cost you though.
Yes, sir.
No problem. What a great business opportunity.
Good.
Here, so huge, quote unquote, huge female rapper files multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Lyft after she was denied service because she was too big to fit into a car. Let's take a look at this. Disheartened about the driver's unacceptable behavior.
Wow.
So apparently she's a big girl, okay? She's a big girl.
Yeah, big girl.
Big girl. And is this a worthwhile type of lawsuit? I mean, if she's got that much energy to file a lawsuit, I'm thinking to myself, well, if you got that much energy and time,
Yeah.
to blame somebody about your physical condition,
Yeah.
why don't you take some of the time and energy to make sure you're healthy?
Correct. Again, pick up a vegetable, eat some fruit,
Some
put down
fiber.
the drumstick and the steak. It's okay. Don't get mad if someone says, unfortunately, you can't fit in my car. It's not the car's fault. It's your fault.
Do you think that we're entering an era, because the last 4 years, this was widely accepted behavior, that people that were obese or that played, they're a man masquerading as women, playing in women's sports. Do you think that era of craziness is, because apparently right now we're going to an era of common sense.
Yeah.
So where do you see a lot of this still happening in America going forward in the next 4 years?
I do still, because victimization is the new hustle.
Wow.
And so no matter what it is, people are looking to become victims. And victimization has been paying a high dollar right now, specifically in law enforcement, stuff like this as well. Also, when it comes to, you're going to talk about somebody farting. That's another one, man.
That's
so
another article.
That's another article.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you can learn one of two ways. You can learn a smart way or you can learn a wise way.
Yes, sir.
The smart way is you learn from your own mistakes.
Yeah.
The wise way is to learn from mistakes of others.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
And for me, guess what? How I learned for the majority of my life, I learned the smart way.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Until I learned, what? No. And for me, when I started my business, my entrepreneurial endeavors, Ladale, I don't know, maybe you have a similar experience to this, but I started surrounding myself. For example, when I was single, I was sharing with you earlier in the show. Yeah. When I was single, I didn't hang around with other single people. I hang around with older married people. That's why I only had like 3 girlfriends in 6 after more than 6 months, because I knew the riffraff wasn't worth it. When I started in business, you know my mentor, PBD, right? He's younger than me, but he's wise behind his ears.
Sure.
Right? Instead of just dropping standards to accommodate me, he's raised standards to challenge me.
Yeah.
So these are the type of people that are so important in my life to get me, and I've got so much more to go, but these are the type of people that was very beneficial, helpful in my life. What are some of the people that were most beneficial to you? What type of attributes do they have that, like this, you had to walk on your own for 5 miles at 36
my high school basketball coach, Precious Waggerty, he taught me how to love his wife, how to be a good father, how to love the Lord. He did Pastor Robert Triggs. He taught me how to be a man of God, a husband of God, and a father of God. And I have to say also, my stepfather, he has some flaws, but he said how to do to my mom when she was a single mother. He's one that led me to Christ.
Wow.
And so even though he has his flaws, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be a kingdom citizen. So it'd be those 3 men. Yeah.
Well, Dad, I appreciate your insight.
For sure,
I appreciate the conversation, man. You got to come back on the show and
get it.
Digest some of these topics, man. But if you haven't done so already and you got value from this, please subscribe, drop a comment, to make sure that people know about the 7 Figure Squad podcast, so therefore they can meet and learn from exciting guests I have here on the show, just like Ladale Buggs. With that being said, guys, appreciate you from Dallas, Texas. On behalf of Ladale Buggs, I'm your money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today. See you next week.